Working with a contractor can be complete chaos or it could be a dream. I'm Risha Walden, and welcome to Designing the Business, the podcast where we go beyond beautiful spaces and delve into what it really takes to build them. I'm an interior designer and founder of Walden Interiors and your host. This week, I'm sitting down with Josh from JBD Builders. He is a great cabinet maker, contractor, builder, started in commercial design and now has started his own business doing residential design in New Jersey, working together with a great contractor, not only who knows what he's doing, but is willing to collaborate is a dream and helps the clients achieve their dream so much easier, efficiently. We're going to find out from Josh what it takes to be a dream contractor. Why did you start your business, Josh?
It was always the plan. When I got out of college, I worked as a carpenter for a small GC up in Bergen County. That's what I learned to love to do. So it was always a plan to have my own business. I got not sidetracked, but I figured I would go explore the commercial world for a while. But and I did for over a decade. But now I'm back. Now I'm executing the plan.
Executing the
Like,
plan. Why did you
that's
go into the commercial work?
it was bigger, better. It was always bigger, better. When I was building, in Bergen County, we were building kitchens, bathrooms, small additions, and I thought that at the time, I was 25, 7, something like that, and
Mhm.
I'm saying like, no, you build buildings. Who does that?
Right.
And so I went and found out.
So you did that in New York.
Yeah, so I worked in Newark for a couple years. Did the Hotel Indigo. Which I don't
Okay.
know if that's still.
I know it. I don't know if it's there, but still,
Um,
but yeah.
And then, and then I went over the river, and I was in,
The big city.
yeah, exactly. But I mean, like the companies we worked for were like, they're massive corporations at the point. So like, we were renovating brownstones on Central Park. I did a couple jobs for New York University. And then ultimately, we took a building out of the ground in Union Square, which was probably the peak of my,
Commercial, yeah.
yeah, and
Wow.
that was really cool to be a part of. As anything, you get to that point, and now, so I saw that, I did that, and now I'm starting to say, hey, the grass is green. The grass is greener over there. Like
Over in Jersey.
yeah, exactly. So like, I came back, and so as far as I was concerned, it was always going to be,
Right.
So it's just a matter of time. I feel like I've said this to everybody that I've met, but it turns out there's no good time to start your own business. It's always a good time.
It's always a good time.
So
Yeah.
that's what we're doing.
So what impact do you want to leave with your work?
I don't know. I just like to build stuff. I don't really think about it as like leaving an impact. I don't know if that's good or bad.
No, it's fine. There's no right answer or wrong answer. You like to build, but I'm sure you like to build beautiful things more than you like to build like, okay, let's just throw up this shack
Oh,
you like
absolutely,
it,
absolutely.
like, do you like to see the impact that it has on your clients when they're
Okay.
finished?
Yeah, that's definitely a big motivation. Is to see the
I
like,
know.
like you walk in, and it's, oh my gosh, like I can't believe that is the same as, there's the same space or house or
Right.
whatever, that they
And
love.
then to see that standing, I mean, you're not building it for, oh, we'll just, knock it down in 5 years.
No, yeah, no,
I mean,
no,
we look,
absolutely.
especially in Jersey where we have all these old homes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Your legacy could be there like
Yeah,
100 years, right?
that's fair. Like, I love the homeowners' enthusiasm, when they see it, and and the goal is, the next guy that touches it is a toddler now. That's always the goal. 30 plus years. Let it outlast the mortgage.
Good work means that it should be standing. We look at a lot of new construction now and, it's not construction you want to be doing. And I know your work and, you do great work. Not only are you good at construction, but you're also good at cabinetry making, like the fine detail. Yeah.
That
And
was a I did that as a hobby when I was working. I wasn't swinging a hammer every day all day.
Sure.
And so my hands got itchy, and so I took it up, and I just love it. I built, you know, cabinets, benches. We did that little project
Right.
together.
Does that translate then into like when you're taking that small cabinetry work, which is very fine detail work, does that translate in your building bigger spaces in like the trim work and those other details?
I like to think about it as details. You're talking about a building, the details are infinite, but they're always the most important. The devil's in the details, but the beauty is
It really
also the
is.
detail. Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily think it like is attributed to one thing, like trim work, or like I don't think it's helped me necessarily in like one aspect, but I do like you have to think about the entire thing before you do one thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's the detail oriented. Yeah,
Right.
100%.
Do you have a favorite story, client story or project story?
I was thinking whether or not to say this one.
It's a good one then, right?
Yeah, this guy. I mean, so I'm gonna rob from my commercial life.
Yeah, absolutely.
We renovated brownstone, but part of the renovation, so it was right off Central Park, and part of the renovation was we had to increase the bulkhead, right? So
Okay.
we had to go up, and what that meant was somebody lost their view of Central Park and neighboring
Oh,
buildings.
yeah, of course.
So that's
Somebody gained a view, but somebody
yeah,
lost, gave it to somebody else, right?
big issue, big issue.
Wow.
This guy who was head of a project for his side, he kept pushing. He told the story the second time I met him, which is I consider that like it's fair game to like say, He waited until actually this time of year. He kept pushing the hearing or the
Okay, for the variance.
yeah, for the
Right.
approval, right.
Right.
And so he kept pushing until this time of year when everyone's on vacation.
Good move.
Yeah. If
So-
you want it, you can get it.
Right.
That's
So
what it
it
is.
was very strategitic.
Yeah. Yep.
Clearly he got it.
Yep, he got it. No rules with New York real estate. But yeah,
Timing.
that's what it is to me is if you want it, you can get it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a little questionable. Like, it's a good exercise in getting what you want.
So, if you want it, what do they say? If there's a will, there's a way. Keep it going. You're just going to keep doing it. With your business now, what's the biggest mistake you see your clients making?
They think they're signing up for like a half-hour HGTV show, and like they're really signing up for like a
6
full
months.
season of
Yeah.
This Old House.
That's a great analogy.
That's something. It happens all the time. I know you experience it as well.
Absolutely. People
Yeah.
think it's going to happen like,
Right.
oh, well, it happens in 30 minutes on
Right.
HGTV.
Yeah, they
It's so easy. I could do it myself.
Yeah, they pick the paint colors in the opening credits,
Right.
But in reality, it's, you're 4 months.
Hours.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
4 months in,
hours,
and you're
hours.
going to Minnesota to talk to the cabinet company that felled the trees. Like that's the kind
Right,
of stuff
yeah.
from This Old House. Like,
Yeah.
I love seeing them when they do that stuff. But I mean, like that's the reality. Is you find yourself in these ridiculous conversations, and the choices are endless. You know what I
Right.
mean? And like the decisions are endless, and nobody gives it enough. Nobody gives. It's not HGTV's fault.
Right. No, I mean, they've got to make TV.
Yeah, but like it's just at some point that has become the expectation.
That's like a lack of knowledge and experience.
Yeah.
Because if you have never done a renovation, if you've never done any kind of work on your home, if you're a new homeowner, you're going to only see what you see on TV, which,
No, the best the best clients are the ones who've done it already.
Right, because they know what they're in for.
Yeah.
They can prepare themselves, and we know that prep is 99% of the job.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Is project timelines. If you were a professional just starting out in your space in construction, what advice would you give?
It's gonna be like a part of me wants to like quote an old boss of mine.
Okay, well, let's hear it.
I have to quote him verbatim,
Okay.
otherwise it doesn't really work. He sat me down one time, and he goes, "Josh, I need you to understand something. You're the smartest guy in the room. No matter what happens, not this room right now, but I need you to project that you're the smartest guy in the room." And that to me, I mean, I didn't realize what he was even getting at for a couple of years after that. But really what it is like, it's a confidence thing. I mean, you have to be confident in what you know and what you don't know. And you have to be willing to call BS on a lot of stuff. Every tradesman's been doing this for 30 years.
Right.
They all know the best way to do it. And
Right.
every architect's been doing it for 100 years.
Right.
So you need to know what you know, and you need to not be afraid
Own
to
it.
assert that.
Right. How do you do that if you're a newbie in the business and you don't have that much experience or you're just starting out? Maybe how can you acquire that confidence? What are the sort of things that you can do that would help give you that confidence so that you can portray that to the client? Because it's really about letting the client know that you are capable and you know what you're doing, and you're not going to know everything about it.
No, that's fair.
But
I'm
how do
not
you get
sure.
that
I'm not sure. I mean, there's nothing that's going to replace 20 years of experience. Yeah, I
experience?
mean, there's just nothing that's going to do it. But I guess what I'm angling at is if you
What was did you when you heard that from your boss, was there something that said, "Okay, well, I'm the smartest guy," but then when did you start realizing that meant, like, I need to have the confidence, I need to be, like, sure in my
yeah, maybe this is where I want to say it is, you gotta trust your gut a little bit, right? If it doesn't make sense to you,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense, right?
Right,
Like that's really it. That should be the bar, right? I mean, plumbing's been the same since they invented it. You know
right,
what I mean? Like electricity's been the same since they invented it.
right,
Like obviously there's levels of all of those things.
right,
But, if the guy's telling you that the water will flow up or like the
right,
water will
right,
drain up, it doesn't sound right. It doesn't feel right. Like
right.
let's
So,
let's
like,
let's
let's
ask the
examine.
follow up.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
right.
Like so that's really what it is. That's really what it is. It's trust your gut, I guess.
Yeah, and we often are challenged that way, like, "Oh, no, you don't know because 'cause you're so young," or you're
Yeah,
and then
and
you
they say
do,
it
you
was,
don't.
and people say it with such confidence.
There you
I
are, the
mean, like
confidence,
it's
right.
just outrageous. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just outrageous. They know. Not only are they telling you, they know it to be true, but they're
They
not
know
always
the
right.
water goes up.
Yeah, absolutely. It blows
Interesting.
my mind every time it happens. It's happened countless times.
And so
Um,
you've stepped in saying, it doesn't feel right. I mean, to yourself,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah, yeah.
And you're like, okay, I want to examine this before I.
Yeah, it tickles you the wrong way. You go find another, whatever. In this
Like,
case, plumber or whatever.
right.
Like make a phone call to a friend of a friend of a friend and say like,
Does that make sense? Right. Yeah. Okay.
and see, and just see it. But people are not. They're not always right. I
Right.
guess.
No, I mean, there are many I mean, yes, the plumbing hasn't changed, electricity hasn't changed, but there are many different ways of creating a space, as
Yeah.
in, it's not just a straight path to like building a room and putting in lights, let's say,
Yep.
for instance. There are other options. And so, okay, if you're saying that, it can only go this way, well, then maybe we examine other alternatives. Okay, if this is the only way I can go, then what else is there? Because
Or
that doesn't feel right.
yeah, exactly. And the reality is there's always a way to get
There's
to
always a
achieve
way.
the aesthetic that you're after.
Right.
There's always a way.
Yeah, there is
I
always a
I
way.
I mean, it might be the more expensive way.
Right, but there is a way. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with you because, when people hire me to create beauty and the functionality of their home, I'm working with the clients so that like I see the clients that they've made decisions that are in so many directions and so many it just doesn't have a target or a goal. Like it's like, oh, we just want to have this room like this. And part of it is that like there's always a way to create what you want, but what is it that you want, right?
Mm,
So if we can have a vision and a goal and we can agree on that, then I can help you
yeah.
achieve that. I don't know what it means. I just know that look at if you really want to put the window there, or if we really want to have all this wallpapered and it's weird or whatever, I'm going to figure it out. Do you see that happening
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in places with your clients?
Well, yeah, what I just took away from that is they get caught up on one thing, and
Right.
that becomes the thing, and you can't move the window, or you have to have this certain things, this place, and for whatever reason, there's a mind block
Right. Yeah.
around that
Right.
that prevents probably the better solution. And I mean, like, so yeah, I mean that happens all the time. That's I mean, sometimes it's worth the fight, sometimes it's not. I
Right.
mean that's
Very true.
for me. I like I put on my contractor hat, like I'm here just to build it. Like,
Right.
let me
Yeah.
know.
Well, that's funny because,
Yeah.
I love working with contractors because I'll say, like do this. And then they're like, yeah, great. But I don't even just say do this. I'm like, okay, put a door here, but I want it 3 feet wide. I want it
Yeah,
7 feet tall. I want it like a pocket door. I want it trimmed out this way. And then you can say to me, well, we can do that, but a pocket door means that we can't put like the plumbing behind it because we need room. And so then it becomes this collaboration, right? And then we can, okay, well, if we can't do a pocket door, what are the other options? Where can we go? Right?
I love when designers are involved,
Right.
or I mean, architects mostly a necessity, but I mean, because
Right.
you're aware of the options, you're aware of the constraints, and
Right.
you're aware of just generally how it goes. Like you're saying, like
Right.
somebody who's never done it before, they think that they're gonna get this window in this location no
Right.
come
No matter what.
hell or high
Right.
water, and
Right.
like and that's it. You open the wall, there's a pipe there, but when and to talk to somebody about the details of the trim work and the pocket door and the hardware and the thing, it becomes a third job for me to walk you through the options
Right.
and then have you select it. So I mean, if you're picking them out, that's
I know.
perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah. So if, it's like this collaboration between contractor, builder, and designer is so important because I know, well, first of all, I'm not lifting a handle. I'm not lifting a hammer. I'm not going to build it. Like that would be crazy, just as if like asking a contractor
I'm
to
colorblind.
say, yeah, they are. Pick the colors and this trim style and the flooring. Like
Yep.
that doesn't make any sense because that's really not what you're good at. And if you ask me to build it, I'd be like, yeah, okay, you don't want to do
Yeah.
that. That's just crazy. So what keeps you inspired to continue? Where do you get your inspiration from?
It's kind of similar to what we're just talking about, like seeing the end, right? I mean, it's honestly what drew me to construction to begin with, is like there's a definitive start, there's a definitive end, and you get to see that, like, it's tangible, right?
Right.
It's a tangible change, whether it's a house or a bathroom or whatever it is. There's a tangible element to it, which is I mean, I love that part of it. To stand back at the end. There's a lot of hemming and hawing and mess that goes along with it. But at
Mhm.
the end of the day, you
Yes.
get to stand there. You get to stand back and say, "This is what I did."
Well, you are creating, right?
Yep.
You're building versus destroying. There's something beautiful in that creation, the process of creation, like, and that you did it.
But then it goes hand to hand. Like I take pride in that. Like I take pride in
Yeah.
what I get to build.
We're not looking for the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Yeah, I agree.
Although, so what's one thing about yourself that you're working on changing personally? Within, yeah. I mean, I know I'm always working on something. God
No, I was
knows
gonna
I'm
say,
like learning.
that's a little deep. That's a little deep.
It
Did we get that? Did we get that?
It is deep. I'm like, is there something that you're?
Yeah, I professionally, where I'm trying to go is yeah, I want to get the company to a point where I don't have to swing a hammer. You know what I mean? Now we're still at a size and scale that, like, you're gonna see me on you're gonna see me on your job, and I'm gonna be swinging the hammer or
Right.
running the saw or whatever, and I'm trying to move away from that, so just hired a couple of guys, and we're moving in that direction.
Great.
But like that's the goal.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. Is I will manage the process.
Right.
That's the goal.
Well, you do need somebody managing the process.
Absolutely.
Even if you have a GC, there's some like project manager or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know because I do project managing, and it's like making sure that the information on the design gets parlayed to the GC, and then that gets parlayed to the team.
No, I mean the reality is, if you're like, I'm speaking for me, if I'm worried about, do I have enough screws to screw the boards,
Right.
I'm not thinking about the color of the decking.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you can't do both things
You
at the
can't.
same time.
No.
You just can't.
Yeah.
So that's the direction I'm trying to move. I'm trying to be less here, and
Right.
more here.
Big vision. Big vision. So what do you think needs to be improved in your industry?
This is an easy one. I'm gonna go with digitalizing. Everything needs to be digital.
Really?
Yeah.
And how do you see that happening?
Um,
How do you mean digital? Is it?
I mean, right off the bat, cracks payments. Just like, and this comes from commercial, even in commercial, not everything's digital.
Implementation.
Yeah. Let me just clear that right now. It's never going to be 100%.
Right. Sure.
Right. But what I mean is, like, we as an industry should be moving towards paperless. This is one man's opinion.
How does that work on site?
Like tablets, phones. Right now, my guys clock in digitally, on their phone. Everything's in an app. And again, I'm moving towards. I just made part of this is I just made a pretty big investment in a digital platform for residential construction. But I'm trying to move in that direction. I'm trying to move the company in that direction because there it is. You get to pick all your. Yeah, all right, so this is a good one for you, right? So I would send we call them submittals and once upon a time, but they have a different name. I think it's selections or something.
Oh, I mean, I know selections. So if it's
so point
it
is
like
we send it. It all lives in this. It all lives in this, right? So I don't have to like call you to say, hey, remember we talked about that thing that one time, and like, is it black or is it white or is it, it's I go to this place, I go to this, this section and see the tile that you picked,
right?
And like, and that's again, that's the big picture goal, right? But I mean, like, just as in general, like, I mean, something as simple as like cutting the guy a check, like, I mean, like, between Zelle, Venmo, like,
right?
like I could pay you for a cup of coffee. I like, but like, I can't process my, my requisition digitally, I mean, that's madness. Again, there's one.
So
it's
like really keeping track and accountability with this digitally so that everybody can be on the same page.
Yeah.
There's no miscommunication. And when the information hasn't been relayed or it's been, maybe misunderstood, it can be double checked by something digitally. Great.
The example is like, so take tile, right, as the example. Right. So you have a conversation with your client. And you say, we want the 4x4 black tile. Yeah. You put that information comes to me. I put it in the program, and then you get an email, and the client gets an email, and they say 4x4 black tile. Yes. You click yes. You click yes. Yeah. Now I got two people saying absolutely go for it. So there's no like, okay, we're not sure if they agree to that. But just as much as so, then when I go buy the 6x6 black tile. And I start putting it down, you could say, that's not what we talked about. Right. And I could say, are you sure? And you could say, absolutely, I'm sure. So that does exist to a much better degree in commercial construction. Bigger teams. Well, right. But that's exactly it. There's people's jobs who it is just to manage that process. Right. Right. So like that's how you come up. You're an assistant project manager. That's what you do. You just manage submittals or selections or that. Yeah. Like that. We must send 1,000 emails, I swear. Yeah. The information updates all the time. What's going on. Yeah. It would be nice to not have. But look, I mean, so you're talking. I mean, you're talking a little. We got some wood to chop. We got some wood to chop. No question. And you got to start with yourself. Yeah, exactly. And if you can get it going, like that is so awesome because it makes it way easier to work with you, way easier to do work. Which is time and money. Yeah, right? It is. So it falls down like who. Project management is billable. Right, it really is. It's crazy. So what would you tell your 20-year-old self? It's not going to go how you think it's going to go, but you'll get there. That's true. That's it. Yeah. Honestly, when I was 20, I was thinking about, I was just like, I wasn't really thinking about construction. It wasn't until I got out of the school and I realized that I had to make a decision what I wanted to do with life, which, I mean, it was close enough to 20, but like by then I realized like, you got to pick a path, like, for better or worse and stick with it. So that's how I ended up here. But I mean, at 20 years old, I was like, who knows at 20, right? But you picked a path. Yeah. I mean, I was honestly what I told myself at 20 is like, pick it earlier. It's true. Like pick a path. Yeah, pick a path. For like whatever it is. Right, and you can change. Yep. Absolutely.
right? We get stuck in this, like, oh, I made this decision. I got to
Yeah.
keep going. And, no, you don't. It can change.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe I'll be a fisherman.
Thanks so much for being with me. I've
absolutely.
enjoyed this conversation. Working and talking with contractors is always interesting because it comes the same. We're working on the same project, but such from different
Yeah.
viewpoints. So it's like, how do we make sure we're in the same spot?
Yeah. Another thing I'm trying to bring, this is this is how I think how you and I met. In commercial construction, the interior designer, the architect, the contractor, they're all a team. That is not always the case. Like I'm sure that you've experienced this. Like you're like
Butting heads.
this with
Right.
the contractor or the architect or whatever. And like what I'm used to is everyone's working for the client.
Right.
And that we just need to figure out how to get what they want.
Right.
And you're the one telling them that like this is the dream, and
Right.
I'm telling them like this is how we get there.
This is how I build the dream.
Exactly.
I like it. Yeah, it's very true. It's great as a team. And end goal is so much better when everybody's working together to create the vision for the client. And it's exciting. It's an exciting way to work, actually.
I agree.
So if people want to get a hold of you, where should they go?
The website is JBD.
All right, I'll put all the information below.
Builders.com. Anyway, I'll see my cell phone. Yeah. Call.
You're on Instagram.
Yep. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. If you want, call, text, right?
Okay.
Any of the above, my email address and phone number are all over the place.
Yeah.
So
we'll put all the contact information below. So you can get a hold of Josh. And thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure. Yeah, the conversation's great. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Check out over here to the upper right-hand corner somewhere up here. Check out our next podcast. And we're here talking about business.